Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Brent, and with me I have William. He is one of the members of the APAZones mentorship program. And as we look at things here today, I just want to give you a brief overview of basically our assumptions going into everything. All right. So first off, we're going to be looking at 3 different time frames for forex trading, and we're going to be doing the review of last week as well as a forecast of what we believe is going to happen in the future. So in that sense, it's a little bit different maybe than some different forex rooms that you've seen before, because we really try to forecast out things based upon very fundamental principles of supply and demand and support and resistance, and what that looks like on a multiple time frame fractal perspective. All right, so weekly, daily, and 60-minute here on our daily. This is our context chart. You will see the APAZones Elite software giving us an idea of trend up here on the top left-hand side of our screen. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so over here on the Aussie CAD. All right, first off, we have been moving into this chocolate zone here. We've kind of highlighted some, and it's been a nice little retracement back into the weekly and daily level confluence, and now we're retesting the highs. All right, so we're going to be defining this thing as trend to the upside. We've identified these previous levels in last week, it looks like, and you can see how price is kind of bouncing around there just a little bit, giving us some nice neat consolidation inside of this blue zone here. So we've kind of retraced out of the big weekly level, taken a little breather, and we're going to give the high another retest. So this is a nice area in my perspective to be basically buying. All right, and really being able to push up into the level. You don't want to be buying right into resistance. Okay, so it's nice to find a little continuation zone to say, hey, this is a good area of consolidation. I'm going to try to buy low to sell high, but as support and resistance, supply and demand change over time, uh, these are the kind of levels that we can get another oomph out of the market at, hopefully. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on this one, and considering that the trend is up and trending, I'd be looking for like little green diamonds down here on the bottom, here on the 60-minute for potential entry points, just to follow with that overall trend idea. Okay, let's move over here to our next market. As we look at that, it looks like we've been in somewhat of a range, and we're really still kind of in that range on the big weekly time frame, on the big or the context daily time frame. And again, you know, we could take all these and put them all into one chart if we wanted to, but we've seen kind of a nice bounce a little bit higher inside this daily time frame, and the market's rangy right now, so it's best to play the extremes of the range. That's pretty much what I'm going to say. We drew a line to the downside, thinking that, hey, this thing needs to push lower. We're going to see if that happens here or not, but that is our idea because we are playing inside of a range, okay, and we're playing the extremes of the range. All right, so I'm just going to continue on in that frame of mind. I'm going to put a little arrow right there. Okay. Now, William, would you mind taking the next market here?
All right, hello everybody. My name is William. I'm going to be taking the Aussie Yen. Talk a little bit about the Aussie Yen market here. As you can see, the Aussie Yen's been a big down move for quite some while now. We just came down to retest this daily weekly demand. Now we find ourselves back up here in this weekly supply zone. Price has been respecting it. As you can see, we got a drop from it last week. Seems like we're in a little bit of a consolidation period right now. So we're going to go over to the daily chart and see what's going on. Get a better look at what's going on dailies. Here we are in a period of consolidation, stuck in between two daily zones. This daily supply and this daily demand. Looks to be forming a pennant formation. Uh, so I'm expecting this thing to pop out of this range here soon. Which direction will it pop? It's kind of hard to say, but if you feel it's going to pop to the downside in a trend follow method, you might want to try to take a short up in here in this range, in the top of the range. If you feel it's going to continue up, you could play the up move out the demand zone down here. But for now, I would just play the range as it may be, taking short targets in between these two zones until we get an expansion move through one of these zones and down or up. So uh, I'm just looking to play the range right now in this market.
Now, technically, we've been watching this market for quite some time, and we were looking for this consolidation and pop to the upside. If we look at the previous zone here on our chart, I think this is kind of interesting because we were looking for price to respect this level, but it just barely broke it by like just a couple ticks, and I'm still not done with this idea to the downside, to be quite honest. So we got the expansion to the upside like we're looking for. Now it's consolidating. I'm looking for another retest down, personally speaking. So we'll see how that goes, but that's really what I'm looking for, and I'm just going to put that out there just because that's the trend follow play. I want to be playing
Mm-hmm.
with the trend as much as possible, and you just have to wait patiently until that proper setup is put in place by price action. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Aussie dollar.
Here we are on the Aussie dollar. As you can see, the Aussie dollar's been in an up move coming from this weekly demand. Been moving up. We find ourselves back up here at the weekly supply zone. As you can see, price has been respecting the zone. Got a little fall from it. Let's go over to the daily, see what's going on it. Here we are on the daily, and as you can see, the daily trend has been up. And you can see over here on Gabe's indicator, up and trending. So if you're looking to follow the trend up, uh, today probably would have been a good entry for you. If you found yourself at the top of this daily demand. I know we have daily supply up here, but if the trend's up, this thing's going to get busted through, and we're going to find price up here in these new aqua levels here shortly, or whenever they get there. But if you're looking to play the trend follow method, getting long here in this daily demand zone would have been a good idea to do so. That's about it. Just look to find entries in this level down here and follow the trend.
Let's do that. Let's see if we find any entries off of this. No, I don't see any down there, to be honest with you. And something that I like to do a lot is just to identify the fractal confluence of levels and top of levels and stuff. So, as we look at this level over here, then when we put it on this one, you can see like how that highlights there and things of that nature, just to make it really obvious, like why do we see price doing what it's doing, and right now I know that we're in a little bit of 60-minute or entry time frame resistance. So are we going to pounce through this thing in the direction of trend? I don't know. I'll leave up the money management to you, but I'm just thinking that, this isn't a terrible area for price to be bouncing and giving us another retest of this high, just to really see, is that a strong high? Is that a really price failing to do something up there or not? Time will tell, and we will see. So looking over here at the euro pounds, looking at the big weekly time frame, we've been watching this thing. We drew a little trend line from here, from the chocolate zone, just in previous weeks. This thing has been making a new high, and it looks like we have a new high deal going on right there. So a new high on inside the weekly zone, and the trend looks to be continuing to the upside. Just let the software do what the software does best. So that's what it looks like. We were drawing an early trend line, it looks like, just connecting there. So just to see if price respected that at all, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're making a new high. So I just think that's really interesting to see how that's played out. I would say that the trend is still to the upside, and again, we're just like waiting for that good position to come along. We're looking to see how can you jump into the trend with minimal risk and jump into one of these new levels here in that direction. The other way to play it would be a counter trend out of the big weekly level. It is at a deciding point. This is a decision point where buyers and sellers are going to duke it out right now. Okay, big time frame versus smaller time frame type stuff. So we'll just see how it works and what it looks like in this week. Personally, I'm really big into trend follow until it says that the trend isn't going to do this anymore. So let's just follow it off the daily and go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this line here. You had any thoughts there, William?
No, you pretty much nailed it on the head. Uh, this euro dollar, this pair's been in a big broad range for quite some time now. It's just stuck into it. Well, yeah, you can say it's stuck here on this weekly chart. You can see it's been in a range from base roughly 1400 all the way down to 106, 105. So about 900 pip broad range. Now we find ourselves back at the top of this range. But on the way up, we've encountered even more tighter ranges, just like this range here. Very choppy. Got a little expansion, back down, back up. Just been chopping away like in a weird fashion. But for the most part, we're just at the top of this big broad range again, and you can see how price is respecting this supply zone here. For the past week, it's just been falling. So let's look at it daily. We'll zoom in on it and show you what I mean. And here we are on the daily. Uh, price got back up to this 1300 level, 1.13 level, and fell again. And here we are. It made a new demand zone that we're in the middle of right now, but I don't know if that really means a whole lot as we are falling from the top of the range on the weekly. So right now we're in a downtrend, coming down, try to find support again. I think we're gonna fall till we get to like the 110, 110.50, 110 level, and we're gonna find support here in a flip-flop manner before we find anything significant again. I think that's what I feel. Just because I see how price respected these levels back before. When it fell, boom, it came to the top of these wicks and rose again. But these two rises, keep in mind, were news announcements, and I don't know. It's strange because sometimes the markets move off bad news, and it just took off. This was a bad news release for good news release for the United States, and it just went in the opposite direction. I don't know why. I don't understand, but the markets do that sometimes, and we find ourselves the news pushed price back up into this level where we expected to find sellers again, and this is exactly what happened. So I'm just waiting to see what happens next. I know we're falling right now. Just a matter of how far we're gonna fall before we get another reaction to the upside. It's the question I'm asking myself.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is the software is now saying that we're starting in a new uptrend just due to a few different factors. And I think that's interesting because we were looking at a really big pattern on the weekly last week. And if you guys didn't see the video, please go back and review that one. But there's a really big pattern coming out of the weekly that would really say that something like this could be happening. Okay. Now, if we're pulling the pattern and we're pulling the stuff off the weekly, this could be a very, very long-term thing. This could last for the rest of the year, okay? Uh, on the daily, yeah, this was the range play, okay? Now, is the trend really going to go to the upside? We have a new early indication that the trend is up, considering price action has told us that. Trusting the system. I guess I'm going to take the other side, William. I'm just going to go with what the software says. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that this thing's going to find support here. We'll see. You know, I know last week we had a little bet going on, or actually not last week, but a couple weeks ago we had a little bet going on, and
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. You know,
Yeah.
so.
And yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. Now, well, we'll talk about it when we get to that pair, but it's still respecting that channel. The channel. It's
Hmm.
still it fell back in it. It didn't. We thought it was gonna expand through, but it didn't. It stopped and fell back down in it. So it, I
Hmm.
don't, it's weird, man. But we'll talk about that when we get to it, guys. Um, uh, but here we are on the pound Aussie. Uh, in a big downtrend, you can see the pound Aussie just expanded nicely from this weekly supply zone over here. And here we are, find ourselves back at weekly demand. And you can see why prices stopped, because it found a daily demand zone, a fresh daily demand zone. And it stopped in respecting this demand zone. But you can see we're in a big downtrend. Down and trending, you see the indication over here. Gabe's indicator, down and trending. If we get another retest of this zone, look to find sellers again. In my opinion, that's what I feel that the next viable play is on this pair. Wait till we get up in here. If you want to play the counter trend back up in here, you might look to do that as well. But I think we're gonna find sellers back up in here. If we get up in here, we're gonna find sellers again and just follow the trend down.
Till it says to stop. So,
That's it.
all right. So, why don't you take this one, and I'm going to take the last one.
All right. I know you want to talk about that New Zealand dollar.
Uh-huh.
Uh, all right. Yeah. Here we are on the pound New Zealand, and as you can see, this thing's been a nice downtrend as well. Prior to the most recent move, we were talking about this pair chopping down. It was down and choppy, but still moving down. As you can see, making new lows on the weekly bars. And we got an expansion move from this fresh supply zone. Found ourselves at the top of these. We found support here at the top of these resistance. These wicks over here, these bars over here, in a flip flop manner, and we found support and formed a new demand zone. That price just popped out of, and now we find ourselves back in.
I would say that that really hasn't confirmed itself yet as truly new weekly supply. You know, it's given it a little bit. It's a weekly resistance, but or weekly support, but it doesn't feel right yet. You know what I mean?
I guess you could say we're just basically respecting this daily level here and seeing what happens next. Uh, wait a minute. You say you don't feel that weekly level's confirmed yet?
Right. Just because we put in a lot of chop right around it. You know, we haven't like had an expansive move. The the
From it,
the trend is down. Okay.
right? Mhm.
So if the trend is down and we form just a temporary weekly support, it doesn't mean that it's really confirmed itself. It's just a little breathing point, you know.
Right. Right.
And on the daily, we can see, you know, the fractal confluence that has led to that where the low is and why the low is where it is, you know. And then we formed
Right.
a new higher low and off the same level, and now we're kind of just bobbing around in here just a little bit, you know. I
Right.
don't think that that level, that new fresh level, has stopped the downtrend yet, in my
No.
mind.
No. No. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think it has either. I don't think it has either. As this trend is just too strong. It's very very strong. It hasn't. We haven't got a significant pop up yet. We're
Mhm.
just getting retracements. But yeah, I expect the downtrend to stay intact for a while. I don't see anything happening as of right now as to trend reversal. So I get what you're saying, Gabe. See it fall from there.
I really like
You know.
that shooting star candle right there. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was solid right there. But we'll just see how this market continues to play. The trend is down, so do what you oughta, follow the trend. Uh,
Yeah.
that's what I have to say on that one. Here is this market.
Yeah.
So we've been watching this one, and this is where the previous bet was on,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it turns out here. But this is just a very interesting pattern of consolidation, and I believe trend reversal happening on the weekly. You can see that weekly supply zone coming into effect and what it's doing there. We've been looking at this kind of pattern going on, and we've been watching this over the past few weeks to see this type of pattern going down. And so far, well, the little lines that I've drawn out are pretty good. The little retracement was a little bit deeper than what I saw, but it still looks like it could be happening here. Putting in a new high. Hopefully price will stop here soon and give us a brand new high, hopefully coming into the aqua level here shortly. Again, this play, this idea may be weeks to months out at any, I'm guessing months, folks. That's what I'm thinking, probably a couple months is what this is doing. But again, coming from like a day trade perspective and pulling everything up to a swing trade perspective, the same ideas still ring true. The same fractal patterns still happen. It just takes a lot more bars to do it. So what normally would be like maybe 20 bars on the daily charts are, like it's like a month, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
on those
Long
daily
time.
bars. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how the fractal confluence helps us out with everything. So we will continue to watch this one, but I'm really excited to see a potential reversal happen here. So just wait patiently and do what we oughta, you know. Right now the trend is still saying down and trending, and yes, that is correct. It's just I've seen this fractal pattern happen here before, and be looking to see it pop to the upside. But right now it is still technically down. Okay?